Hey everyone, welcome back to another Jay the One Eye Gamer video. Today's video is going to be a little different. We're going to take a look at 5 potential playable characters I hope make it into One Piece Pirate Warriors 4. Only because we haven't gotten that much information since Tokyo Game Show about who's going to be in the playable roster. That being said, we do know that the Straw Hats, all of them are going to definitely be playable. But outside of that, we don't know how many returning characters will be playable because they have stated that the roster is only going to be about above 40. So I'm led to believe that's like 45 to 46 playable characters. And they have hinted that some of the returning characters might not make it back this time around. So for that, they're going to supplement by probably giving us brand new characters to take their place. That said, I want to talk about 5 characters that I hope become playable in One Piece Pirate Warriors 4. Just so you guys know, these are my personal picks in my opinion, so I hope you guys can respect that. Without further ado, let's jump right into this, shall we? Starting off the list at number 5, we're going to take a look at a character who's pretty much been around since One Piece Pirate Warriors 1, way back when it came out on the PlayStation 3, and that is of course Kaku, pretty much the second strongest member of CP9. Now why do I pick Kaku? Well, mostly because he is kind of like a legacy character. He has been there since One Piece Pirate Warriors 1, like I have stated. But other than that, I feel like it's nice to get more representation of CP9 because at this point we only have Lucci, who was just made playable in One Piece Pirate Warriors 3. And honestly, in my personal opinion, I think Kaku is one of the best characters that showed up in that arc next to Lucci. And he did give us a pretty amazing fight with Zoro. Why would I pick him just besides him being there the longest? Honestly, I think it'd be interesting to see how his swordsmanship would pair up with his Zou ability to turn into a giraffe, and how they could implement that into his combat strings. That's kind of the main reason why I pick Kaku, and I kind of hope he does make it into the game. And out of all the other members of CP9, I pick him because since we've seen Kaku in the manga and the anime working for CP0/CP Aegis, I kind of feel like he has a little more relevance than the rest of the CP9 agents because we don't really know what happened to them. We don't know if all of the CP9 agents are a part of CP0. But either way, that is the reasons why I'm kicking off the list with Kaku at number 5. Now we move on to the number 4 slot, and that's going to go to Silver's Rayleigh, a character who is very mysterious in the franchise. We do know that he is, of course, the second in command of the Roger Pirates, and he's also the one that saved Luffy and the Straw Hats from Kizaru, and also taught Luffy how to use his haki. I feel like it'd be interesting to have him as a playable character because then we could get a representation of someone from Roger's crew besides Buggy and Shanks, but actually a very powerful figure of Roger's crew, and Rayleigh does command a lot of presence whenever he's on the screen. It'd also be interesting to see what kind of moveset Koei would give him. We do know he uses a sword, but we know he's primarily a good haki user, and it'd be kind of interesting to see how they would incorporate all of these abilities into his attack strings. Also, I just think Rayleigh looks awesome himself, and I think he'd be a fun character to add to the playable roster. You could treat him like he was a secret character like they did for Shanks in One Piece Pirate Warriors 3, and probably give him like some of the most outrageous moves in the entire game. I feel like that would make him insanely enjoyable, just like how Shanks has some aspect of that. And also, you could implement his haki usage throughout his entire attack string, which I think would emphasize him as a unique character. Or these are some of the reasons why I put Silver Rayleighs at my number 4 spot. Moving into the number 3 spot, this goes to a character who has a good relationship with one of my favorite characters in the franchise, Sabo. And as of right now, I think one of the only human practitioners of Fishman Karate who's mastered it to a certain degree to make it a viable fighting style for them. And of course, I'm talking about Koala from the Revolutionary Army. The reason I picked her is because I like her design, I like her as a character. I wish Oda would let her fight a little more, but from the few things we have seen of the anime, and I believe a little bit of the manga, she is a decent practitioner of Fishman Karate. We don't know what level it is, but the fact that a human being is able to use that martial arts effectively and not be a fishman, I find very interesting. And also, I feel like her moveset would be completely different from Jinbei's, only because Jinbei is a slow character, but he hits like a truck, where I feel like Koala would be the difference. She wouldn't probably have an insane amount of damage output. I feel like she would be able to hit fast and keep going, so that's why I think it'd be interesting to have the comparing fighting styles. And like I said, I really do like her as a character, and I hope she does kind of get more screen time. But those are the main reasons why I'm putting Koala at number 3 on this list. At the number 2 position, we're going to give it to a relatively new member of the One Piece franchise. He's literally getting his own arc right now, and he's been proven to be a powerhouse, if not one of the strongest characters in the world next to Whitebeard. And that is, of course, the Yonko himself, Kaito. With Kaito, I feel like it'd be very interesting because, like I said, he's pretty much nigh invincible, and he also can transform into a legendary Zou dragon type, which would be amazing. I don't know how they'd incorporate that into the gameplay style. If anything, I feel like that might be a Musou he gets, but I could see him being a literal powerhouse, like on the level of Lu Bu or a Tadakatsu, where he just shows up and he just wrecks everything with his mace. We do know that Kaito is a very big character, both in stature and his presence. So since they just added the new Giant/Titan characters, we don't know if they would be playable, only because they would literally tower over the rest of the battlefield. And we don't know at this time if they're actually going to let Big Mom be playable. We know she's a boss character, but since her and Kaito are pretty much the same height and of the same power, I don't know if Koei Tecmo would let us play as them, but honestly, I would love to, because I feel like playing as Kaito would be the equivalent of just going into a battle battle as Lu Bu and just wrecking shit. And honestly, I think it'd be kind of cool to have all the current Yonkos playable in a game. And that's kind of the reason why I picked Kaito here and why he's at my number 2 spot. But now we move on to my number 1 pick. And here we go, guys, my number 1 pick for my top 5 characters I hope make it into One Piece Pirate Warriors 5 as a playable character. And this guy is very unique to me. I love him, I love his design, I love his laugh, and honestly, he's one of my favorite Blackbeard pirate characters. Now, just from that description alone, I'm pretty sure you can figure out who it is, and that's the man, Jesus Burgess himself. And the reason I like Jesus Burgess is because he looks like such an interesting character, and it does help that he is voiced by the guy who does Lu Bu's voice acting as well. That's a giant plus. And honestly, out of all the Blackbeard pirates, I feel like he's gotten the most screen time, so you could pull some movesets from him. And we did see him get into a fight with both Luffy and Sabo during Dressrosa, so I feel like now would be a great time to add him. And honestly, like I said, I just love everything about this character. His design, the way he fights, and honestly the fact that out of all the Blackbeard pirates, he's one of the few who gets the most screen time to rival his captain. And he literally showed up in One Piece Pirate Warriors 3, albeit as a special, like, non-playable character, which I feel like was a missed opportunity. I mean, the character model's there, all they would have to do is literally just give him his own unique moveset, and I don't know how tough that is, but since Koei Tecmo can do it for characters who's, like I said, literally have either no combat on screen or who have done so much little combat in both the manga and anime that they're able to make their own moveset for him, I feel like they could do that for Jesus Burgess. And honestly, who doesn't love that laugh of his? Sorry about that, but those are the reasons why I picked Jesus Burgess as my number 1 pick for the top 5 playable characters I hope make it into One Piece Pirate Warriors 4. Goddamn, that is a mouthful. There you have it, guys. My top 5 characters I hope finally become playable in One Piece Pirate Warriors 4. Please feel free to put in the comment section characters you hope become playable in One Piece Pirate Warriors 4. I'd very much like to hear who you guys would want to see playable, because One Piece is a huge franchise and there are multiple characters who have the potential to be playable characters, and some of them could be really fun depending on it. And honestly, that's what I feel like is fun about these videos. We get to engage with each other and get to see what characters we'd like to see show up in these games. But that's going to do it for me, guys. I want to thank you very much for watching the video. I want you all to have a great day, and remember, let's rock!